Hi everyone, this is Stirp, and today's video is part of the October Horror Authors lineup. This month I'm going to be reading short horror stories by authors who've submitted short stories to me. I have 7 wonderful authors that I'll be sharing with you in October, so absolutely watch out for all those videos. And with that, I'm going to jump right in and get started. Today's writer is Christine Bottas. Christine Bottas is a Greek-Canadian writer who loves tales with dark or gloomy elements, be it a gothic story, a scary fairy tale, or melancholy literary fiction. Her book of gothic poetry, Goblin Garden, was published in 2015 by a small house in Greece. She's been published in Rethinking the Plot and Conversations, 2 anthologies by Kingston University Press. Her mini graphic novel, The Maggies, which won 2nd place in the 1 Million Project Awards in the short story category, can be found on Comixology and Lulu.com. I'm going to put all those links in the description below. I'm going to put the links to The Maggies, which is the mini graphic novel. I'm also going to link her Twitter below and her website, so be sure to check that out. And with that, here's The Maggies by Christine Bottas. The day Maggie came, all the bluebirds flew backward into the sea. I watched them from the window of the tower as they plunged into the hungry maw of the waves, never to be seen again. Maggie came into the world covered from head to toe in blood. The nursemaid swaddled her, wrapped her tiny, silent body in a blanket that was fast turning crimson. I told the nurse the baby should have been wrapped in black. I could not help but think her stupid when she looked at me as though I was mad. Maggie watched me as I held her. Her long lashes were dotted with minuscule pearls of blood. Her tiny body was streaked with afterbirth, making her look like a newly hatched little bird. I placed my hand over her heart, willing it to stop. Maggie's orbs were the blue of the deepest skies, ones that could draw you in and permit you to dream of things that would never come true. I knew she had stolen the color from the sky and inked it in her eyes. When Maggie came, she sucked away the yellow of the sun, the green of the grass, the rose on my cheeks. Yet I wept for the bluebirds Maggie had stolen away, more than the fact that the sky would forever stay a steely gray. I tried to love Maggie. For 12 years I fed her, brushed her long black hair, but I could not feel for her the way a mother should feel for her child. I sewed her simple gray stockings and long black dresses with pockets where she hid polished stones she found on the shores of the sea and gave them to me. The stones were gray. When she turned her back, I tossed every single one of them out of the window and into the waves. I could not bear to give Maggie another color to have but black and gray. She had taken so much from me already. Every single hue that had once given me a reason to live was gone. Morning hues suited Maggie just fine. When Maggie was 16, I watched her walk into the garden where thorns and thistles overtook the rose bushes I planted so many years ago. I still mourned the loss of my garden, the beautiful lavenders and pinks of my bellflowers and carnations. I wept for the deep blood red of my roses, whose heads now hung like weeping women who spent their days watching the ground, waiting for the day they would be buried deep under the dirt, blossoms, leaves, and all. Maggie seemed to enjoy the sharp spikes littering the garden. She reached out to them, her fingers caught in the thorns, and drew blood, which painted the ugliness of the garden with the red I so desired. By candlelight, my moonlight daughter recited haunted verses, invoking phantoms. They came to waltz on the stone walls of the tower, which whispered of a million sins. Some say the mad should be locked in asylums and not in towers given to them by lords. There's no one here to judge you but the stones jutting from the walls. Even God turns a blind eye to the wretched and insane. When the sea crashed over the rocks, I watched Maggie wander among the 3 tombstones, trailing her finger over her name that had been etched in each of the salt-licked stones. I thought of plucking her eyes out and feeding them to the sea, mixing the blue with the saltiness of the water. I thought of her gangly arms floating in the waves, little minnows swimming between her teeth. When I lifted the knife, Maggie saw it shine in the rays of the moonlight. Her slender arms fluttered like broken wings as she tumbled to the ground. her black hair fanned before her as she lay among my grieving roses. When the storm came and thunder crashed overhead, I saw the magpies flee from her soul, flying after the bluebirds she once helped to usher away. Blood dripped from the knife as I stood among the thorns and watched the sky, waiting, waiting, waiting for the Maggies to fly away and the bluebirds to return. Like, what? Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Amazing. Let me just say, the feelings I got from this, I'm just gonna say it, I don't care about judgments. And I'm not, I mean, you might think I'm crazy. I got a very, like, Shakespearean feeling. Obviously, this is not written in that kind of language, that kind of Old English Shakespearean language, but the imagery, the colors, the darkness of it all, I thought of certain Shakespeare stories, right? With just dark relationships and people, sorrow and death. And my gosh, this is amazing. It's extremely poetic. It's almost like a short story poem. Thank you so much, Christine, for sending me your short story. Again, I know that it's not easy to write. It's not easy to put yourself out there. I really appreciate it. I could not do this without you, this October horror author lineup. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Christine's website is below, as well as her Twitter page, and where you can find her graphic novel. And stay tuned because we have more authors coming your way this month. Bye.